Am I the asshole for refusing to make any more meals for my girlfriend after she kept complaining about my cooking? So things have been great with my girlfriend for the most part. We, 28 female, 26 male, have been together for 4 years and living together for 2. Lately, there's been some tension, so I feel like maybe that's why things may have boiled over. We both work a lot, so we both have been very cranky and moody. Especially my girlfriend, who's snapped at me a few times and been in a really bad mood. For the past few days, what's really set her off is my cooking. I'm usually the one making breakfast, packing our lunches and dinner. Literally, anytime I've been at the stove, she complains about how bad the smell is and gives me crap about using stuff that has obviously gone bad, according to her, or saying it tastes like shit and won't even finish eating. This has pissed me off. I'm not a chef, but I do pride myself in my cooking, and she's been talking about how bad my food is. I've had my co-workers try my lunch, and they'll tell me that it tastes just fine. I figured with all the stress she's under at work, she probably needed an outlet to let out her frustration, and maybe that's why she's giving me shit about simple things. I don't know. But I snapped a little bit this morning when she again complained about the omelette that I was making us. So I actually dumped the eggs in the trash, told her that she can make her own damn breakfast for herself then, and I'm not cooking for her anymore if she's gonna keep acting spoiled about what I make. We ended up having an argument over this, and we left for work mad. Anyways, my girlfriend didn't come home, and her sister called me. My girlfriend is mad at me, and her sister thought that I was being a dick for reacting so immaturely by refusing to cook for her anymore when I know that she works a lot. So sometimes she doesn't have the time to prep her own meals. I don't know why this has turned into a bigger deal, but here I am sitting at home wondering if I was being an asshole for losing my cool and telling her that I'm not cooking for her. I just didn't think that it's fair for her to be talking shit about my cooking when she never has before, and thought, well, if she doesn't like it, then she can take over the kitchen. Was I an asshole? In the comments, Snowfall in Memories says, info. She complains about how bad the smell is and gives me crap about using stuff that has gone bad according to her, saying it tastes like shit, won't even finish eating. Are you sure she's not pregnant? OP says, I did not think about that, honestly. Tell her to pee on a stick. When I was in early pregnancy, I hated the smell of bacon. It made me want to vomit. Pregnancy explains the smells and the mood. Get her a stick and give us an update. Not the arsehole. Just a thought, but my wife's sense of smell became mega acute when she fell pregnant. Any chance? OP says, wait, does that really happen with the smell? Because I thought that it was just morning sickness and stuff that you get at first. Well, not everyone gets morning sickness. My wife just had this hypersensitivity to smells. Frying onions made her want to hurl, and pre-pregnancy, she loved the smell. OP says, wow, okay, that actually makes sense thinking about it. I don't know for sure though, but I'm gonna go have a talk to her. That's so crazy. I honestly had no clue about the smell thing. Yup, I'm currently pregnant and only 11 weeks. All the foods that I once loved, I can't stand the taste or smell of right now. My poor fiancé has had to cook the majority of the meals we eat because I can't stand the smell when I'm cooking. And I can't eat most of what he cooks either, as it makes me sick. So most of it ends up in the bin. This has been going on since I was around 5 weeks pregnant. OP says, shit, I really need to call her before I get myself too excited over nothing. Thanks for this info. Feeling kinda stupid for not knowing it. I know people have said that it could also be COVID or some other medical issue. Seriously doubt I'm using anything expired, since we always check for that stuff, and I haven't changed anything in my cooking. This is the first time she's ever complained about anything I make. Yeah, I can definitely see that as being an issue here, and for that reason, I'm gonna say not the arsehole. Maybe it's a no arseholes here judgment as well. That would be the safest spot for me to give a judgment from, because am I really in the position to be judging someone that is potentially pregnant and how that is affecting them? I'm not so sure. I think your safest bet is to get a for sure answer on whether she's pregnant or not. And if she's not pregnant, then I can say that she's been the arsehole here. Because yeah, if not, then she's been using you as an emotional punching bag instead of just communicating like an adult. I don't think you're wrong for stepping back, but you guys definitely need to have a calm conversation about respect, stress, and who's doing what around the household. Because if it's not addressed, you're just going to have reoccurring fights over these tiny things that will turn into something bigger, and we don't want that, do we? And now we're on to the update. Well, shit, this has way too many responses for me. Most of it pointing out some obvious shit that didn't even hit me until y'all mentioned it. It was super late when I posted this, and I was gonna wait until morning to talk to her. I had a missed call from my girlfriend, so I called her back. Totally different tune this time. My girlfriend was really apologetic about the way that she was acting, and didn't realize how much of a bitch that she was being. Her words, not mine, I swear. Until she talked more with her sister. Apparently, her sis didn't have the full details of the fight. My girlfriend was just extremely upset, and while she told her what we fought about, I guess the state my girlfriend was in at the moment made her think that the fight was a lot bigger than it actually was. Hence her reaction. She didn't know that this was going on for days until they talked about it last night. Even her sister was like, seriously? Yeah, that helped her see how shitty that she was being towards me. Her sister also apologized to me, by the way. I said my piece to her. It wasn't cool being used as her punching bag, and I don't deserve that kind of disrespect from her. Especially when I'm here cooking meals for the both of us. My girlfriend was really understanding of that, and we both agreed to talk shit out instead of letting it all boil up to the point where we are both snapping at each other. Okay, so back to what everyone's been waiting to hear. My girlfriend got home, and I decided to bring up her issues with the smell thing, praying to God she wouldn't rip my head off for implying that she was only mad because hormones. Her reaction was priceless though, because clearly she didn't think about that either. So yep, we took a quick trip to CVS and got us a couple of tests just to be sure. We came home and, yep, they're positive. Holy hell, I can't believe you guys were right about that. I'm feeling like a bit of an idiot for not knowing that. But anyways, yeah, we're pregnant and freaked out / super excited. My girl for sure cried and, okay, me too a little bit. She's calling her doctor to make an appointment though, just to be sure. But yeah, for right now, looks like we got a little squish on the way and I can't stop thinking about it. It's too crazy. I know lots of you keep asking, so there's your update. This has been a fucking roller coaster. Edit, sent my girlfriend my post. She thanks everyone for pointing out the obvious and about how bad her behavior was towards me. Anyways, she says you're all invited to the baby shower. In the comments, congrats OP on the pregnancy. I loved your post this morning and your subsequent realization of what may be happening with each comment. It was really sweet. Congrats. OP says, lol, I went back and read them, remembering exactly each thought going through my mind. It was a whole journey in just a short amount of time. Reminds me of the time the guy in a dog subreddit asked for help, because ever since his wife had a mild bout of gastro last week, his dog has been insanely overprotective of her. He was a bit annoyed that his dog and all of Reddit knew before he and his wife did. So many pet help subreddits where the dog or cat is suddenly going apeshit around the mum and everyone's like, hey, she's probably pregnant and we're right. Very wholesome ending, OP. Very good to know that she was pregnant and we didn't have to start laying down the law, huh? You were never the villain. I think you set a reasonable boundary after being repeatedly disrespected, and it's great. Instead of her doubling down, she reflected on her actions. She owned up to it and apologized because there was an underlying and unaddressed issue, and you guys got through this maturely. I'm glad that she's taken accountability and you guys have course corrected from this point. I'm glad that she's the kind of person to have humility and not just double down. Good to see how you both act under stress. This was a genuine relationship challenge, and hopefully this helps you figure out how you deal with bigger relationship challenges in the future. Congrats on the little squish and, good luck going forward. Our next post is by user creepywerewolf4914 and it's titled, Am I the asshole for making my son cry? I, 47 male, have a son, 14 male, from a previous marriage to my late wife. She passed 2 years ago, and for my son, the wound is still very fresh. My son and her were very close as they look exactly alike and had a lot of the same interests in reading, history, and art. Their favourite place in the world is the British Museum in London. Their passion project has been redrawing pieces from the museum for the last 2 years before. For the last 4 years, for my wife's birthday in June and my son's birthday in December, we go to England for a week so they can spend time in the museum. However, since she died, my son and I have continued going for his birthday. The problem is with my new wife, 39 female. She's only been with us on this annual trip once last year, and she complained the whole time. Now, however, we recently found out that we're expecting a child together in May. She raised it to my attention that the money that I've used for this trip could be better used to be saved for the baby, and we could instead do something else for my son's birthday. I thought about it and agreed. I was worried about how he would take it, as this is the only thing that he wants for his birthday. He doesn't ask for gifts or cake or a party. All he cares about is this goddamn museum. We broke the news to my son yesterday and he flipped out. He was so upset, and when my wife tried to tell him why we were saving the money and where the money was going to, he said he didn't give a damn, and we got into an argument about it. He said he was upset because if he didn't go this year, he would miss the new exhibit that he'd been wanting to see. And he accused my wife of doing this on purpose because she already doesn't like me, he said. I admit I yelled at him and he started crying, and for the last 24 hours, he hasn't spoken to me. Am I the asshole? In the comments, Crocodile's Bramilk says, "Your shiny new wife chose to act worse than a whiny toddler and ruined a trip that was meant for a child on their birthday as a memory for his mother. You allowed this woman to make your son feel terrible in his favorite place in the world on his birthday. You allowed this woman to take the one thing that your child has ever wanted, to shift it over to something that has nothing to do with your son for his birthday. You yelled at your son for reacting badly to being shoved aside for your new family. You allow your new wife to mistreat your son, not even bothering to raise any question at 'she hates me' at all. Of course you're the asshole. You're the asshole in a huge way. By calling it a goddamn museum, you're minimizing the importance of this tradition. You're denying your son a connection that he has with his late mother, all in the name of saving money for this new baby. Your son feels like you're abandoning him for this new family. I don't blame him. You seem like a terrible father. It seems like you don't care that your kid lost his mother. Was he okay with you moving on with another woman? Lots of men with kids do because they can't handle the responsibility of raising kids alone, and it's almost never okay with the kids. Think about what you're doing here. It won't be long before your son leaves you behind and goes no contact. Good thing you have this new backup family, right? Can you imagine chastising a toddler at 50? OP's a moron. It is always so odd to me that people expect such adult reactions and adult restraint from children. Why a 50-year-old would be so cruel to this developing child who has dealt with such grief and agony and is obviously still not over it, as you say, and then chastise him and attack him for a completely understandable reaction. What? He has a bit of a temper tantrum because the one thing that he ever wants, the one thing that makes him happy, he doesn't get now and he will never get again, and you expect him to be cool with it and just not react? But because he obviously is going to react, you're going to say that he's a piece of shit and he's flawed and he's not a good person for having a reaction. Like, that is unimaginably cruel. Yes, you're the asshole, and don't be surprised when he cuts you out of his life entirely as soon as he's allowed to leave this household. There is no benefit of the doubt here. You are fully aware of the situation. You did mean to harm him. You did mean to negatively impact your son, to put him in his place. That was not okay for you to do that, and you are a bad person for doing that, OP. And now, on to the update. So a year ago, I, 48 male, made a post online about the issue that I was having with my son, 15 male, and my new wife, 40 female. I've gotten so many messages and comments asking what happened, so I decided to make an update. So the big thing first, did I take my son on his birthday trip? No, but let me explain. So after my son and I got into a fight, he went and complained to his uncle, my late wife's older brother, 47 male, and his husband, 47 male. I'll go ahead and say that since my late wife got sick and even after she died, her brother and I never got along. He, his husband, and most of her family like to judge me for how quickly I remarried. However, my son has kept a good relationship with them, and once he told them about what happened, they called and offered to take him themselves. I was all for it, but my wife was not. She thought if we let my son go with them, they'll fill his head with lies about her and only deepen the rift between us. Since this situation was causing her so much stress, and she was pregnant at the time, I decided to decline their offer, which only made things worse. Eventually, after 3 days, we finally sat down and talked. He said he was unhappy with the way that she was treating him and often felt like she was trying to erase his mum's touch from the house. He felt like she was constantly criticizing him and didn't want him around. When I confronted my wife about this, she was offended. She said she wasn't trying to erase his mother, but simply add her own touch to the space. She wasn't criticizing him, simply parenting. Eventually, my son accepted that he wouldn't be able to go on this trip and was noticeably bummed out about it. So his boyfriend and his friends spent his birthday at our house trying to cheer him up. A sweet gesture, but I don't think it worked. Over the last year, my wife had our baby, and now that my son's birthday is approaching, he's become more bitter and more resentful over what happened last year. He spends more time away from home. He's been rude and disrespectful to his stepmother and been seeing his therapist more frequently. Now that we've all adjusted to having a new baby and my son's birthday is approaching again, I'm thinking if I should resume the tradition of taking my son back to the museum. I think it would be a good idea to hopefully do some family bonding, and honestly, I'm feeling really guilty about what happened last year. My wife has her reservations for saying that it would only reward his bad behavior. I guess I'm making this update to not only inform the people of Reddit, but also ask for a little bit of advice if it's allowed. What should I do? I only want to be a better dad. In the comments, I've never hated an OP more. He's up there with, I won't listen to any asshole verdicts. My daughter's bunny is going outside. What an actual piece of shit excuse for a father and man. His uncle couldn't take him? Why? What, because the dad and his new wife are a couple of twats, that's why. Sounds like the moment OP's son legally comes of age, he won't need to worry about the inconvenience of having to worry about his son's birthday gifts anymore. I hope the poor boy finds the father figure that he needs in his uncle, because his sperm donor has consistently failed him. Well, it's just one of those situations where OP hasn't learnt and instead doubles down and the situation gets worse. Who would have thought? I judge you too for moving on so quickly and getting remarried so quickly. I'm on that family's side. Obviously, you can do what you want with your time on this earth, and I can't stop you from doing that. But I believe that you've married again too fast, and you've chosen the worst person to marry and side with. So yes, you are a flawed and bad person, and you choose not to learn from your mistakes, OP. I don't think that there is any opportunity to fix this one at this point without losing your wife. It seems as though you have to choose one or the other, because if you try and give grace to your son and build that relationship up with him, your wife is going to destroy any chance of that working. You have chosen to marry a blood-sucking leech. Don't be surprised when that blood-sucking leech does what it's designed to do. Our next post is by user Rooster Alarmed, and it's titled, Am I the asshole for making my daughter move her pet rabbit outside due to my stepson's allergies? I am a widower. My first wife passed away 6 years ago from cancer. A few years after she passed, I reconnected with a former girlfriend of mine. We ended the relationship amicably, but lost touch over the years. We started dating again, albeit long distance, and we married this past January and moved in together this February. There's been a major hiccup in all of this though. My daughter has a pet rabbit. She's had him for almost 5 years now. His name is Basil. Basil lives in my daughter's room and currently enjoys a lot of space. We converted her walk-in closet into a bunny pad. He's litter trained, and she often lets him run around the house supervised. He honestly is more like a cat than what you would think a pet rabbit would be like. She has a little ramp for him to get on and off of her bed, and he will follow her around the house and everything. Unfortunately, it seems my stepson is highly allergic to rabbits. It seems to be a pretty severe allergy. We've gone to the doctors to try medicine. We tried banning Basil from the common areas of the house and had everything professionally cleaned. No dice on any of it. Even just walking down the hallway past my daughter's room causes my stepson's eyes to swell and his throat starts to close. My stepson and wife are currently living in a hotel until we can make the house safe for him. I told my daughter that we will have to move Basil outside because him living indoors just isn't safe for her stepbrother. She is, understandably, very upset about this. I've tried to involve her in picking out and building an appropriate setup for Basil, but she absolutely refuses to do so. She's mostly not talking to me, and when she is, it is screaming, crying, and saying every hurtful thing she can think up towards me. Am I the asshole? In the comments, you're the asshole. She's already lost her mother, and now you want to move her pet away from her just because you've decided to get with someone else. She will end up resenting you and stepson. If his allergies are that severe, him and his mother should stay at their own house and expect that the world doesn't revolve around their illnesses, and if they want a sterile environment, they will have to go make one themselves. I agree 100%. They just got married and moved in with each other after doing long distance. His daughter already lost her mom. Now she has to live with basically strangers. And finally, OP takes her rabbit away. I foresee a lot of resentment. So your child lost her mother 6 years ago, and then a year later she got Basil, and now you're asking her to give the bunny up? How much more does your child have to lose so that you get to be happy with your new wife? You're the asshole. Totally agree. He's willing to bend over backwards to get a new wife, and willing to hurt his child who has already lost so much so that he can have his happiness. This is the opposite of what parents are supposed to do. Back up to the post, there's an edit. Hindsight is 2020. I definitely see now that we should have made more of an effort to bring the stepson here before the official move-in. Unfortunately, it wasn't an option for most of our relationship. My wife's ex would not allow it. He lost his parental rights last year, and that's when we decided that we could finally move in together. I'm definitely a bit of an idiot for that one, and I accept that. My stepson's allergies weren't super severe right off the bat. The first few days he was here, he was mildly stuffy. Then they progressed and became quite severe after 2 to 3 weeks living here. Whenever we traveled to them, we always went with freshly laundered clothes, and I assume that's why he didn't react to dander on us before when we visited. It seems the constant exposure of living with the rabbit exasperated the situation. It's not an option for my daughter to live with my grandparents or other family. Unfortunately, it's also not going to be feasible for us to purchase a second home or rent an apartment for my wife and son. They are in a hotel for a few weeks while I get the rabbit situation sorted and bring the cleaners back out. So I fucked up, but what's done is done now. My wife and stepson are family too, and I have to do right by them as well as my daughter. I'm converting a shed that we have on the property to a bunny barn. I'm working on getting it insulated and refinished. I will have electricity run out to it so that it can be climate controlled. My wife is actually helping to finance the conversion. We all love each other and we want to make this work. Edit 2. Seriously guys, I am not divorcing my wife over this. That is in no way, shape or form an option. Tough situation, and I guess with that edit, I guess he couldn't have seen this coming, that the allergies were going to be this severe, but I don't know if this is reason enough to break up with your new partner, to divorce your wife over this. I feel like this is Reddit overreaction territory. I don't think he's particularly an asshole for this because he couldn't have foreseen this happening. I personally think the rabbit going outside into its own enclosure is a fair compromise where the daughter still gets the bunny and everyone gets to live in harmony without the stepson being constantly sent into allergic episodes. This way, the rabbit isn't taken away, the rabbit just can't be inside the house. To me, it's a reasonable middle ground, but I can see why OP's daughter is going to hate him for a long time with this one. And that's just a price that you have to pay if you want to keep your wife and keep your stepson in your life. That's the decision that he's chosen, and you're welcome to disagree with me on that one if you want to, but I don't see anyone divorcing their wife over this issue, personally. Thanks for the story, and thank you for the edit/update, OP. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you today. I do hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.